I mean, are humans inherently racist? Yes. I mean,
For
that's
sure.
just
Tribal, I would
undeniable.
say.
Yeah,
Like,
tribal.
Not
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, but
inherently
like,
tribal because it's like it's an ancient survival mechanism. It's like one group against another group. They've even done experiments in psychology experiments where they would pick random groups arbitrarily, like in school, and they would pick a group of kids and put them in one group and just call them a random name. Group A, give them some random name. Group B, and people always have an inherent like in-group preference. It's just the survival
well,
mechanism that
yeah, I mean,
humans
that's
have,
just
right?
biology because that's just a biology thing. It's like they don't look like me, they don't sound like me,
I mean,
they
it's a path
don't
of least
speak like
resistance
me.
to a degree where you're like, it's someone who's just like maybe I'm not that different, but I someone who's Jewish, like when like I went from a Jewish school to like a nobody was Jewish, and you're like, for me to just have to explain all this shit every single time to every single person, you're just like, I'd rather not have to all the time, and probably everybody's groups is similar.
I think personally knowing people like coworkers, friends, acquaintances, classmates, things like that. I think that's probably like the best way to kind of dispel. Not that there's not, certain truths to certain stereotypes, but I mean,
Sure.
I know, I worked with a couple Muslims at a day job, 15 years ago, and just from working side by side with them, with one particular, like that was where I learned. I was like, oh wow, you mean like Muslims believe in the virgin birth of Jesus? Like Muslims believe that Jesus was a prophet? Like I had no idea because like you're never gonna hear that on Fox News or anything. It's just
Yeah.
Muslims bad, Middle East bad. But it was fascinating. Of course, some of the Muslims think that Christians are idol worshippers, but then you'll have the ones who are kind of more moderate. It's not like they're gonna in America at least like stone you to death for you are an idol worshiper,
Yeah.
but I mean like that changed my view of just literally like knowing one. I was like, wow, like really? Like you guys actually see Jesus as like a prophet? Like I never heard that from anybody anywhere. And I took maybe I heard it in like a comparative religions class like years earlier, but it just didn't like stick because it was pre 9/11. So like it didn't have that much significance. Like, oh, whatever, Islam. That's that Arab, religion over there. But
Right. And then post 9
I
11,
mean,
like
yeah, but
every
these
TV show was the bad guy, was like,
yeah,
just to think of like the show like
Arab,
24,
yeah.
like if you remember the show 24, is like they're just
oh yeah. Oh,
you know?
dude, they normalized torturing suspects. Okay,
Yeah.
like literally, that show helped to
Yep.
normalize torture, and even like Vanity Fair, like the big Hollywood industry publication, like admitted that. They're like later they said, oh yeah, 24 carried the water for torture in Hollywood.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, I think it was more of a thing of like most Americans stateside before 9/11, like they didn't have too much of like an understanding of who like the Islamists and the Arab world was outside of like everything on television or anything they learned in class. But once 9/11 happened, then 2003 in Iraq, they're like putting out this image, and then all of a sudden in the world learn like, dude, you gotta tread lightly because, dude, you can draw a smiley face and then right underneath it write Prophet Muhammad, and these people will literally declare global jihad on you.
Well, when you say
Over
these people, you
like
should be a
over
little more
Yeah, like,
specific about that. But like some people, many people in America are still so dumb that they don't know the difference between a Sikh and a Muslim. They just see some like brown hair,
brown guy, yeah, they
brown
go.
skinned person wearing a turban, and they're like, "That's a Muslim." It's like, no, that's an Indian Sikh.
Yeah, there's a
Totally
big
different ethnicities, totally different religions.
Yeah,
But
I wonder the level of like the Mockingbird stuff with like because you think for the American War Machine in the early 2000s, like they would have, I don't know if they would have been like overt about it, but they might have been like, hey, like we could use some shows about where like we're the kind of the good guys and like
oh
the
well, dude, there's a
terrorists are like
whole
look like
there's a
this
whole
and
department. And this is like not even disputed, bro. There's a whole department within the Department of Defense called the Entertainment Liaison Office. They have a website. Okay, Department
really
of Defense has one. Yeah, you can go look it up. CIA has one. If you just Google like
is that
CIA
just to like
Entertainment,
get stuff accurate like when you're
no, that is to literally like if you're a producer you go to them and then say, hey, we want to make this movie and we want to use like an aircraft carrier. Can we borrow your aircraft carrier? And then in order to do that, they have script approval. So it's like, because they're not going to allow tanks and access to military bases and stuff like that for movies and shows that undermine, the American agenda. So like, it is a weird coupling where you have the Hollywood, which are supposedly like anti-war, but then you have them working hand in hand with the Entertainment Liaison Office to kind of make, American empire propaganda, where movies like Platoon from Oliver Stone, which just kind of shows a lot of the horrors of war.
Yeah.
They're not going to get on board with that kind of stuff. Or even like Katy Perry made a music video once where she got dumped by her boyfriend and she went to join the Marines. And they like literally shot it on Camp Pendleton, actual Marine base, dude. They had Marines as extras in the video because it's this like girl power, she's joining the Marines type of thing. So like, to get access to that kind of equipment, like you have to have access to the government. And so in order to do that, they have their entertainment liaison offices, and that's literally what they're called, which is basically like the Operation Mockingbird of entertainment.
Yeah, interesting.